You're listening to 101 with Tommie Zam. On the 55th episode, we sit down with Friendly Rich talking about music and life. Let's do this. Hey, Friendly Rich, how you doing?
Tommy, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, man, I'm so glad I can finally got you, man. It's been a minute. I've been trying forever with your PR, and
Holy cow!
Yeah,
I've been moving around. I was in Louisville doing a show there, and now I'm in. You find me in New Orleans tonight I'm doing a series of 4 shows here in New Orleans, like a little residency at a theater in the Bywater district. So I've been busy. You've been busy. We're making it happen. I'm jazzed to talk to you.
Today we're making it happen.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome.
So you're in New Orleans. I love New Orleans. I grew up in Pensacola, Florida. So I mean, it was only 3 hours.
No kidding. Yeah.
3 hours from New Orleans. So
yeah, everybody here seems to talk a lot about Pensacola. That's cool, man.
It's nice little city, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But if it didn't have the beach, it wouldn't be nothing there.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of New Orleanians go there to cool off.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what do you like about New Orleans?
Oh, what's not to like? The people, the city. I mean, the culture. It's so deep. This is like I think my 4th time here, and I just keep coming back. And now I'm going to be coming back again in June to do a special performance. I'm connecting with all the freaks here in the city, and there's like too many of them. It's so rich for freaks,
Hey, you do get the freaks in New Orleans.
Oh yeah. I'm meeting them all, and it's really exciting, and they're taken nicely to me as well, So I'm really encouraged by that, like it's reciprocal love, and that's important, right?
No, 100%.
You don't want to just be like looked at as the freak. You want to be like looked. How should I say it? Like, you don't want to just be observed. You want to be like, I want to see my freak in you, and you want to see your freak in me, and that's where we kind of align. So no, it's and that's what's happening here. I'm just like really connecting with people in a meaningful way through my music, which is why we do it, right? It's why we do it.
100%. And New Orleans has great food too. I mean,
oh my God. Yeah, man, I'm drinking water because I'm all tacoed out. I've eaten one too many tacos while I've been here.
Well, you got to come to San Diego. I'll take you to the best taco places.
Oh, man, San Diego. Is that where you are? You're based out of San Diego?
Yeah, I'm based out of San Diego.
Awesome. I love that city. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. They got rid of all the Dr. Seuss. I heard they got rid of the Dr. Seuss tree over there.
Really?
Damn, yeah. The Lorax tree has been chopped down.
Oh man, I didn't know about that.
No respect, but yeah, that's a beautiful city. So I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, I'll take you some real good tacos. I mean, I know Lawrence might have some good tacos, but San Diego has the best tacos.
Oh, rad! That's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, I'll take you to we'll have some octopus tacos. We'll have whatever kind of tacos.
I'm in. Now that you mention it, last time I was in San Diego, I had some really good tacos. They were fish tacos, man. That's great. That's great. All right. It's a deal, Tommy. It's a deal.
All right, we're doing a virtual handshake.
Yes.
Well, that's rad. I mean, that's rad that you get to travel around a lot with your music and everything.
That's
so rad.
It's cool. I feel very fortunate. Yeah.
We'll step back a little bit and let's tell the listeners a small little bio about you.
I mean, I'm 45, so I've been making music, experimenting with sound. I started on the guitar since I was 11, so that's like a fairly long time. I have a PhD in music, and it's my love. It's like my core kind of focus, basically. I give it my all, and it continues to give back, or I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it, and And I've been, after you do it that long, like I just released my 16th record last month, Man Out of Time, it's called. So I feel, and I'm proud to say this, that it's my best work. And so I'm one of those artists. I'm one of those artists that hopefully grows stronger and learns a little more about themselves as they go, and not like, not, I haven't hit like many home runs in the early days. So for me, this is like, I had some success. I did music for the Tom Green show on MTV, and that helped me out in my early days. But like, it's been a bit of a slow burn of persistence because I do weirdo music. I'm inspired by like folks from San Francisco, actually, the Residents and other kind of weirdo experimentalists. So that's it. I'm always messing around with sound, and I think at the core of what I do is build community through music making, and that's kind of what I'm here doing in New Orleans. Actually, is like making a lot of friends through music. So yeah, that's me. Friendly Rich is my artist name, and I come from a little piss pot town in outside of Toronto, Canada. It's called Brampton, Ontario, and it's not, there's nothing special to it, and I think that's what makes, as I age, it makes me realize that is what's special about me, is that there's nothing really special about the place I grew up in, and that's kind of what I think I've been striving to find, is uniqueness in things, because I grew up in like a bullshit kind of suburb,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, and I come from a place of privilege, I think, like I'm a white male in growing up in Canada. So I don't take that for granted either. And that's kind of been on my mind a lot as of late, is how I can use that privilege to hopefully bring people together and make the world a stronger, safer place. So, but yeah, I grew up in kind of a boring little sleeper town, and nothing too special about it, but lots of culture certainly around us in Toronto and other surrounding cities. So that's me.
Hey, that's a good little bio.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks.
And so growing up in a small town, so the music was very selective out there, correct?
Yeah, like there was nothing to do, so we were bored. So I've lived by the mantra that's basically this. That's like, you could either you could either make stuff, in other words, or become produce, which is like becoming a bit of a vegetable and just loafing. You know what I mean? Not like just kind of vegging out, like just kind of
Mhm.
not making shit. So I gravitated towards making stuff. I'm a very creative human, and I love just making things happen and persisting with whatever I make, and doing it for long periods of time, and learning more about myself and others around me through that process. So that's kind of what drives me. And there was not a lot of music growing up. There was it was a bit of a different era, in that like you had to go hunt for the good stuff. And thankfully I had a buddy, Matt Daly, who he exposed me to a lot of the weird stuff, like this band from the UK called Ronaldo and the Loaf, which is like a duo from Portsmouth, England, who are really out there. The Residents, you know,
I heard of Residents.
yeah, like really weird stuff. They've remained obscure for 50 years with performing with eyeballs on their heads. They're pretty freaky. And I love that stuff. I was like, "Oh wow, I'm not alone. There's other freaks in the universe." And
There's Guar,
Guar, huge influence, huge influence. Yeah.
and then most of all is Meatloaf. Hello.
So there's like it kind of taught me that there's this lineage of weirdos, and that you're not alone. And that felt really good for me growing up. You know what I mean? To know that the world is bigger than your little piss pot town. Um, and I've taken my band to Europe a bunch, like maybe like 6 or 7 times in the last 15 years. So it's I start to connect with different audiences, and I love what that does. Like that kind of dialogue is very special to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And
Mhm,
was your
mhm.
did your parents like influence you when you were super young with music or what?
A little in a meaningful way. My mom used to play this guy called Adriano Celentano, who's like an Italian pop guy, and actually put out a record of his music kind of honoring that influence a few years back. So I sing his songs and yeah, like that I'd say that's where it kind of stops though for me, and the rest is like I hunted it out. I went looking for the good stuff because I definitely gravitate towards especially when I went to university at the University of Toronto and just discovered like everybody from like Karl Heinz Stockhausen to Conlon Nancaro, these people writing like really complex and ugly, sometimes ugly music. And I gravitated towards that. I was like really inspired by it.
Yeah. That's rad, dude. And then you started playing guitar, you said at 11?
Yeah, yeah. I was playing guitar when I was 11, just into like, cock rock and awful shit. And then I got into like more like classical stuff, and that kind of changed me, when I went that route of composition and started composing my own music and recording my own music. I fell in love with like because I was a bit of a nerd, a bit of a loner when I was in high school. I just wanted to make music, and so when I discovered that you can record music and express yourself that way, it was like forget it. I just hold up and I found it. You know what I mean? I was like I found it pretty early, and I love that. Like I see a lot of people in life who don't have that, Tommy, and like to be honest with you, I think it's like part of the reason why we have like school shooters and why a lot of teenagers are like depressed and don't know, like if I feel for people who don't know what they want to do with themselves and they take it out on others. For me it's like I've always had a creative outlet and it's helped me, it's kind of saved me time and time again, and I feel for kids who might not have that, just because like that's if you don't know, if you don't have something that you can kind of pour your emotions into, life can be pretty challenging on a good day, right? On a bad day or a good day, whatever I'm trying to say. But I've always leaned on music to try to figure things out and get through a lot of complex things. I don't know. It's taken me to some really interesting places and helped me out so many times over the last 20 plus years of doing it.
No, no, definitely. I definitely agree with you because because you think about it, uh, and I don't mean to talk about too much politics, but I mean,
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
you gotta think about it. Like these kids these days, when you and
yeah.
me are growing up, we're about the same age. I'm 47, you're 45. I'll be 48
Uh-huh,
in June, but we're
uh-huh.
grew up in the same era. We're 70s babies,
Yeah,
or whatever they call us
yeah,
to whatever that generation they call us.
yeah, yeah.
And we gone or Generation X. I think that's what we are, right?
Sure, you tell me.
I
I'll
have
go
no
with it. I'll go with it.
But yeah, I think we are Generation X because you're born in what, 76, 78?
77. I'm 77. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so you're Generation X like me. I'm 75. And with
Okay.
our generation, we have gone through so much. And they say the Generation X is the one that they have to watch. People have to watch for is because
Oh,
we have gone through so much and learned so much and we've seen so much. You know what I
well, I
mean?
believe that. I believe that. Especially
We're
with what we just went through in the last 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and
man.
and then you got this new generation that hasn't even seen or done anything that we have done, you
Right,
know?
right, 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 right.
Like going outside
Yeah,
playing, like going outside playing, being active and this and that, but this new generation, all they do
yeah.
is sit in front of a computer and watch whatever it shows on fake news, YouTube and stuff, you know?
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's pretty yeah, it's very different than than when we were growing up. That's totally true. Totally true. You
Yeah,
know?
and and that's why they're now. I mean, we're all, our generation. We're always have
Yeah.
mental weren't capable or depressed and this and that, but
Yeah.
we're always
Yeah.
taught, go out and go do something fun, or go
Yeah.
out and do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Tommy, it seems so simple that it's just like, just create something instead of destroying it. And you can even, the fun thing about being creative is that you can actually destroy things while you're creating. Like it's win-win if you think about it, staying creative, but just positive and constructive. Not like, those are the basic rules for me, is like, don't hurt anyone through your art,
Hmm.
and be loving. And so, but through that you could be very abrasive. You could be very, you look at a thing like guar. I mean that's pretty intense stuff, right? Like, it's the form of self-expression can take many different angles. And I don't get the idea of, and I'm opposed to the idea of a high school shooter.
Hmm.
Like, I've been opposed to that since Columbine, and speaking out against it through my art.
Really, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like, I've stood for basically constructive anarchy in my work for 20 years since Columbine happened. It's been kind of a motivating factor in the background of a lot of my work, because it's like, I just it's such a shame, because I can relate to those school shooters. I have a mind that's, if it wasn't grounded, could have easily been one of those. I hope not, but I don't say easily been. I mean, to take another person's life is real, and but I can certainly relate to the angst of a how old were those kids? 17, 18?
Yeah,
Um,
16, 15, something
16,
like
yeah,
that.
I could relate to that kind of angst.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah.
there's a group. I shit you not, because I'm in New Orleans. There's a group of witches screaming outside my door. This is hilarious. You can't
Hey,
make you can't make
only
it.
New Orleans, right?
Oh yeah, it's like a witch convention. I'm actually. What, you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it.
It's wild, man. I should take you out there. This is nuts. Well, as long as they don't come with like cups of blood, I think I'm good.
Hey,
But
just be careful out in New Orleans. There's black witchcraft out there.
yeah, I better lock the door, man. This is getting real. Yeah.
there's a black market out there.
Okay. Okay.
Let's be careful out there. Well, back in the days, I don't know about now, but back in the
Yeah.
days, that used to be careful. You used to get drugged. People used to get drugged in New Orleans and Bourbon
Oh
Street,
wow. Oh
and
wow. 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 Wow.
and they would wake up with like stitches on one side of their body because they would
Oh
take out
my
the
God.
liver, and then
Oh my God.
they would turn
That's
around and
wild.
sell it to the black market.
Oh, that's insane. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 Okay.
So I don't
All
know
right.
that I don't know if they do that now, but I mean, I know. I mean, there probably is, but they don't talk
Yeah.
about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll sleep. I'm gonna sleep great tonight. Thanks, Tommy.
And there's a lot of voodoo out there too, so be
Yeah,
careful.
totally, totally, totally. This is great. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
No, that's rad. I mean, that's rad that you. But I understand what you're saying about going back to the
Yeah.
Columbine and
Yeah.
growing up, because I didn't. I was when I was in school, I wasn't the most popular kid. You know what I mean? I was
Yes.
I was bullied. I was picked
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From like preschool to, going to, two private schools my mom sent me to, and then she
Yeah.
finally took me out of that and put me in the public school, and then I was fine. In private
Yeah.
schools, I was bullied like crazy, even
Oh
by
wow.
like nuns and
Oh
principals and kids and stuff like that.
yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because I was Jewish.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And when
Yeah.
I went to public school, it was a little more accepting.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but then when I went to middle school, it's like a little bit
Yeah.
different. I was
Yeah.
still a loner,
Yeah.
and the teacher's like, oh, and like, oh, he's gonna become nobody, so we're gonna put him in a dropout prevention program. So I was in that, like,
Oh wow.
from middle school to high school. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Wow. Wow.
But I
Yeah.
graduated. I showed proved them wrong. I graduated.
That's great. It's always like a good motivator to prove people wrong, of like, don't put me in that box. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But I understand. But I understand what you're talking about because I mean I was like that even in high school. I mean I
Yep.
didn't really talk to
Yep.
anybody. I was that kid that
Yep.
stood in the by himself and just watching people. That's what I would do.
Yep.
I would stand by
Oh,
the gym, stand
yeah.
there by myself, and then just
Yeah.
watch people. And then I'll leave to go to class when the bell rings. You know.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting, and I've always thought about that of like how we got to have some sympathy and even empathy for those school shooters because I mean it's a horrible thing they did, and I rail against it. I rail against it. I can't stand it, and it really upsets me. But like they don't happen by accident. Like
No.
they're made by the society that forgets about them. And
Mhm.
so, I think we got to have a bit of compassion for both sides, and that's where you get maybe at the core of some kind of a solution for that. It's heavy stuff. I don't want to bring your podcast down, man,
No,
because
no, you're definitely
but,
not. You're definitely
but
not.
it's stuff I've always cared about that theme, and I get it out in weird ways. Like on my new record, you actually find a tune called Killdozer,
Mhm.
and it's kind of about that guy that basically took a bulldozer and turned it into a impenetrable killing machine, and he went out and just destroyed his hometown. He didn't actually hurt anyone in his hometown. They kind of vacated his hometown, but it's stories like that I kind of dance around and in a way want to shine a light on because I think there's something to learn there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And just before we change the subject, I mean, one
Sure.
thing that gets me the most is how they go and shoot up an elementary school. I'm just
Right.
like, these are
Right.
little kids. They're harmless. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
harmless.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a pretty cowardly thing to obviously a pretty cowardly thing to do, and they need help, right? We got to see it that way of like people need more help, man. We need more like, look, I'm Canadian, so I'm going to preach now. We need more social programs on both sides of our border
Mhm.
to help people in need. You think these kind of things don't just cure themselves. You gotta invest in them at the governmental level, and it works. It works. So hopefully, we're going to see more of a turnaround in both of our countries on subjects like this, where it's like, yeah, you know what, it um invest in programs that help kids who may have disabilities or whatever the case may be. There's a multitude of challenges out there, and we need to kind of look at it all holistically, right? These are all. That's how I look at community. Is like we're all in this together. Whether you're in prison, whether you're outside of prison, whether you're on the spectrum, whatever your challenges may be, like we're all in this together, right? You can't. We learned that through COVID, right? We're all
Yep.
linked. We're all linked. You know.
It doesn't matter what color you are.
That's it.
We're all the
That's
same.
it. That's it.
You can be purple, green, red, black,
Yep.
white,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
We're all the same human being. It doesn't
Yep.
matter.
You got it. You got it, Tommy. Tommy gets it. Why
Hey,
don't you all get it, listeners? Tommy gets it.
well, you know what it is? They get sucked in with the media. That's what it is.
Yeah, maybe. Well, you know what? You are the media, so you're helping change that. It's good.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a TV in my. I never had a TV where I live by myself. So as long as I've been living by myself, I never had a TV.
Oh wow, wow,
Yeah.
good for you.
'Cause my TV is like me stepping outside of my house and
There you
the
go. There you
world's my TV, and I get to see. I
go.
got
Woo.
my action, I got my adult scene, I got my this, I got that.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Hey,
Love
it's
it.
like New Orleans. You step out in New Orleans, you got your
Oh
own
yeah, yeah,
TV.
yeah. Just take a walk. You'll find some witches. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah.
But so go back to music. So 11 years old, starting to play guitar. So
Yeah.
what made you decide to pick up a guitar?
I don't know. Like my parents weren't musical. No one. They kind of had my brother take piano lessons, and he quit. So he was like not into it, and I just found. You know what it might have been is I found some identity early through I was attracted to it for some reason, the guitar, and which I don't think is a very original. I think a lot of 11-year-old boys were kind of attracted to that path. But yeah, I quickly found my identity through learning music and just getting better at it and more proficient at it, and having a teacher or two that actually saw, this is everything. This is actually everything. This is a key point I'm going to make here, is that I had teachers along the way, all the way through to my PhD, who believed in what I was selling, who believed in what I was doing, like, as whether it be in music education, composition, whatever it might be, my voice, they thought I had something special. And I think we need to I place so much value in education and supporting learners of all ages, basically, that to pursue their education to the fullest, no matter what that might be. It might even mean quitting school. I believe education is kind of, we've got a high school diploma or not. We all get our education in different ways, but I really value those teachers who saw potential in what I was doing. And so that kind of just kept me going through all the way through, I'm so thankful for that. And now I'm at a stage where I want to be that person. I want to be that person that sees potential in others and doesn't suffocate someone's love of something, but adds water to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right, dude. And so did you, like, in high school and or did you go did you have like music classes and stuff like that? Did you take any of
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I mean, I was just reminiscing about this. I just ended up stealing my guitar. I still have it from my high school. That
Hold on,
was what, like,
hold on. You stole
yeah,
your guitar from high school?
yeah. Well, man,
How'd you get it out? How'd you get
my
out of high school, man?
my high school music teacher was a bit of a I think he was a bit of a druggie, and he just kind of, I just returned an empty case one day, and he never checked. So I was just,
Really?
I still have it in my basement. I still have that guitar, and one day, as a joke, I want to bring it back, like all these years later, and just say, "Hey, thanks, I'm done with it now." But yeah, I got into classical guitar and not really band or anything like that, but I joined a band
Mhm.
in like late in high school, and that was when I was starting to fall in love with. It was kind of experimental, and that's when I started falling in love with the weirder side of um, uh, uh, music making, and the rest is history. Basically, like, I've never stopped kind of tinkering with sound, and just every sound is potential for me, is like, you know uh through the witches chanting outside my door right now, through to my air conditioning unit in this place I'm staying at. It's all sound and fodder for music making, and composing and creating. It's basically like painting with sound, is how I look at it.
That's rad, dude. So that's rad that you have a mindset of, like, anything you look at. What I get from what you're telling me is that anything you look at, anything you hear, to you, you see it as music. So
Oh, for sure.
in
Yeah,
your head, you hear tunes, but
yeah,
also too when you're talking, you're speaking lyrics.
yeah. All of it. I take a walk, and like you said earlier, with not needing a television. I take a walk, and, like, I'm never bored. I love listening to music, other people's music. I love just hearing a train as I'm walking by. Bird songs never cease to amaze me. There's so much in the sonic landscape out there, the soundscape, that if you're bored, it's not their fault. You know what I mean? It's really so I'm always kind of thinking about music, basically.
That's rad. That's because basically you're saying you bleed music notes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't really. have a hobby. I just it's everything to me. It's my it's what every waking hour is kind of committed to. I to the point where it's like a form of workaholism. So I'm working on that. I used to hate golfing, but now I'm actually trying to. This summer, I'm going to golf 1 day a month just to like turn off and do something that's not musical in a way. But then, I'll probably be thinking about it anyways. So whatever, man. Like there's different stages of it. Tommy, I don't think it's unhealthy, my obsession, but I am aware that it's pretty much always there. I'm always scheming. I'm always creating. I'm like 3 projects ahead of myself. It's
That's
that kind of
good,
thing.
dude.
Yeah, yeah. No, hey, you could do worse. You could do worse in life. Like
Yeah.
it's what I do. It's what I'm committed to. So of course, I do it all the time. Like
Well, well, think about it. When you go and play golf. When you hit that ball, that's gonna be a tune,
eh,
man.
exactly, man. You're ahead of me on that one. Yeah, that's
You're
it.
gonna be like 4, 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wait,
yeah.
let me do that
Yeah.
again.
Wait a minute. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Try that one more time. Yeah.
You're gonna have a little recorder down there next to the
Yeah.
ball, so when you hit it,
There
you're
you go.
gonna,
Yeah, that slice sound. Yeah, yeah. You got it. You get it.
and then
Tommy
you get
gets it.
then your next song is gonna be.
Exactly. 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 Tommy gets it. Tommy gets it.
No, that's right, dude. Because I feel like you and me have the same kind of mindset. Like my
Mhm.
mindset is about skateboarding. I love
Right.
it.
Right.
I love it. I talk about it. People. Many
Yeah.
my 2 exes. Well, my last ex many years ago,
Yeah.
she hated it because all I talked about was skateboarding,
Yeah.
and I was obsessed with it, and I'm still am.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
No, yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
and I try and I do what you're doing, by trying
Yeah.
to step away and like, you know what, I'm gonna try to do something different so that way I can
Yeah.
try to pause off, but I can't
Right.
because as soon as I hear click, 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 click down the street, I'm
Yeah.
looking
Wow. Wow. Wow.
and I'm thinking skateboarding.
Yeah. 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 Well, you're in a good city to do it in too, with all the hills and the decent weather and all of that, right? It's
Well,
I,
New Orleans is huge for skateboarding too.
is that right? Okay, okay.
Yeah, there's a skate shop down there called Humidity Skate Shop. There's
No, see, you're dialed in.
and there's a DY spot
Wow.
probably up the road from you. I don't know where you're staying at exactly, but probably up the road. There's
Yeah.
one up the road underneath a bridge and everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah. See, I'm not even looking out for that, right? Like I'm in Bywater, which just bleeds music. I'm where the music. I'm where the freaks are at, right? Like it's
you got to
yeah.
be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, so go back a little bit. So when you started your first band,
Yeah.
what kind of music did y'all play? Did y'all play like the like what you call it, the weird music, or did
I
y'all?
spent I spent like a minute in a cover band, like and then I quickly realized that the folks in that cover band were not really like they didn't have the same musical goals as I had, and I was very ambitious. So I got out of that and immediately into this experimental kind of band that 2 of my friends were leading. And
Mhm.
I really looked up to them. They were a few years older than me, and that meant a lot. And so once again, connected. It's basically like you're hanging out with grade grade 12 or 13s, and you're in grade 9. So
Mm.
like all of a sudden you're like the cool guy. So that really, I think, helped, and they were a huge influence on me, and helped shape my musical outlook, my voice, and which immediately just started celebrating the difference, or its uniqueness or weirdness. I started just shining a light on that, realizing that people were liking that and appreciating it. And it wasn't like I was trying to be weird. I think I just naturally am, and I've kept it up through like 16 records later. I've just kind of stayed on that path. If you listen to my music, of like, this is not commercial stuff, but it's had some commercial success peripherally through some of the film and television stuff that I've done, or or other stuff that's been put on labels and stuff like that that have kind of helped me reach a greater audience. There's an audience for what I do, for sure. You know, like I see the way people react to it when I bring it to them,
Hmm.
which is also part of it. Like I think anyone would be naive in saying that I want to be so weird that no one fucking listens to what I do. No, I've got something to say, and I'm saying it with conviction, right? But it's out there. It's not for everybody. Like I've also seen my music clear a room, like, and
Really?
which is kind of fun. It's just like, oh yeah, everyone's leaving now,
Are you
and
serious?
oh yeah, 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 and then you just gotta kind of be like, all right, well, I'm confident enough in what I'm doing that I'm just gonna keep doing it, and this is a weird night. Sometimes it's the wrong place, the wrong time, you know, and that's that. Like you just got to keep pushing forward and believing in what you're doing.
Dude, that's crazy. So you actually had someone, like a
Oh
bunch of
God,
people
Tommie,
clear the
it's like
room?
a oh yeah, yeah. And you learn, like, doing it for over 20 years, you learn that it's like it's you. It's not. I'm not saying it's not me. I'm saying, but it's like it's just kind of like that doesn't mean you should take it personally. Like people are pretty complex, and you're not supposed to be friends or get along with everybody either. Like it's what I do is not meant for everyone, and I've been doing it long enough to realize that, and I really appreciate when it hits,
Hmm.
because then it's like, okay, it's like this is cool. This is like a reminder that you got to keep doing it, and just sharing it. And those who want to listen and pick it up will. It's like they're on the right frequency that you of what you're doing, you know, and it's all basically harmony among people. That's all this is, music and sharing it, right? You either gravitate towards it or you don't, and that's no one's right or wrong in that. It's just we're trying to bond with each other through that act, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt. And that's crazy. I mean, to me, that's closed-minded people. That's people that are closed-minded and they just not observing different types of music or whatever.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
putting their
yeah.
minds to like something different. They're like, oh, all right,
Well, I mean, I appreciate you in like the fact that you've persisted for a while now to get this interview means that like it didn't scare you off. And that's like, but then again, like all media sources have not been as generous as you are being with your time and outlet, right? So I take the love where it is, whether it be a media source, a listener, an audience member. I don't know if it's closed mindedness. I just think like people have a wide variety of tastes.
hmm
Music has changed a lot over the years, and they may be on a totally different plane of like what they, you know, I've done a lot of time writing about the lineage of weird that I come from, the lineage of like I'm not alone in my world, you know, and I don't expect everyone to have read or listened to all of the books and music that that makes me me. You know
hmm
what I mean? So yeah, I guess you can call it closed mindedness. You can also just call it like different paths for different people. And I don't really get upset if someone's leaving. I totally get it. Actually, I'm like, yeah, man. I may not be in the mood to listen to what I'm bringing. 9 days of the, you know what I mean, every day of the week. Like it's not for everybody, and it's certainly not for like I think you got to be in the right mood to take in what I do. You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's rad, dude. That you have that mindset. You don't let these people that walk out all your shows or hate on your music to get to you. You just use it as a way
Yeah.
to inspire you
I
to
well,
write more music.
I take it as a compliment in that like either it could be turning the worst thing is just complacency, like someone who doesn't have an opinion at all. But yeah, yeah, people either really love it or they kind of really hate it, and that's cool too. You know, like it's like all right, we're getting we're striking a chord here. It's just the wrong chord in a way, but like you know, no, it look it as I said, it has an audience, and I love that. I love the fact that like people are still I can connect and make forge new paths music, and I love that. That's why I do it. You know, it's not a stagnant thing that stops growing or moving or even thinking in new ways. I'm constantly trying to find new paths to creativity. Um, so yeah, I'm happy where I'm at with it. I'm not like, I don't moan a lot. I moan a little bit, admittedly, but I don't moan a lot about like, oh, why doesn't like in what I do, it's like I think I would be naive in thinking that it's like gonna be for everybody. It's not, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
true, not everything's for everybody, you know?
But the world's fucking big. Pardon
Yeah,
my French. It's really big, and just work. If you persist at something, I do think there's merit in that people appreciate that, and it might even have lulls. Like I noticed that a lot in my friends' careers who have been doing this as long as I have. That people will say weird things like, "Oh, they're still making music." It's like, yes, they've never stopped making. These are friends of mine. They've never stopped making music. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, they've been persisting this whole time. Like, I think fans sometimes even come and go because they carry it in a weird way through their lives. You know what I mean? So it's kind of,
mhm,
that's really interesting to me, is like people's relationship long term with certain artists can wax and wane a little bit.
yeah, yeah, definitely, I know what you mean, and do you feel like, when you start doing your music and everything, did you feel like it took a while to get into the Canadian music world to like the music world in Canada? Did it like help you, or did it take a while for them to accept to what you're
It
doing?
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, and it is a little more. Um, uh, it's a smaller market in a lot of ways, right? So I found that European markets for me, and European listeners are a lot more responsive. I don't want to knock my fellow Canadians. It's
Hey, I don't want you to get kicked out now.
Yeah, yeah, and I know, and I certainly have. There's like a lot of people that I know and love in the Canadian music industry. That it's a small family for sure. Um yeah, it certainly took some time to get the lay of the land and learn how it works.
Mhm,
You take that stuff for granted as you grow with it. How many people, right? We all know through this thing.
mhm,
It's kind of surreal to think about. I don't think about it too often, but it's there. Like all these relationships that you've carried for decades, they matter. They matter when you don't even realize they do. I'll give you an example. Like my new record, Man Out of Time, has been put out on the label We Are Busybodies. And I've known Eric from that label. I've known Eric Warner for 20 years. And
mhm,
he reminded me of that recently, saying that I booked him at an arts festival that I used to run in my hometown to battle that boredom that I was talking to you about earlier.
mhm.
Um, I did an arts festival, independent arts festival for a decade, and I booked Eric to perform in a bathroom, of all places, alongside a harpist. He reminded me of that. I totally forgot about all that. So these relationships that you may not even remember, they all matter. They all matter. You try not to burn bridges because 20 years later, Eric values what I do to the point where he's releasing my music and supporting me. So it's I really that stuff, I value it tremendously. It's relationships, it's people,
Mhm. That's
you know.
right. And I talked to, I interview a lot of Canadian musicians and
Hmm.
stuff, and they say the
Hmm.
exact same thing what you said, is
Hmm.
they're more popular in Europe, and they do more tours in Europe than they
Yep.
do in Canada.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What
I
was it?
haven't. Yeah, I've not toured my country extensively. I've toured it a little bit. Um, I've gone as far as British Columbia and Newfoundland, so I've gone, but not coast to coast. I have not seen it. I've seen more of Germany than I have of Canada. which is a weird thing to say, but true.
Well, Germans love anything.
Oh
They
yeah,
love. Hey, they
yeah,
love the way.
yeah.
Dude, they love. They will Hasselhoff.
And they love the weird shit. Exactly, exactly, man. So I value that. I love the fact that I have, yeah, like, and I'm going back to Europe this fall, so it's kind of cool, like that relationship that you can have with another country or another city. For example, with my growing relationship with this city, New Orleans, is cool. I really, yeah, look, the world is a village at the end of the day. It's like you go where your people are at, and that's where I'm at right now. That's why I'm here, because New Orleans is showing me the love, and I go where the love is, right? So,
And how's New York? Do you get that love, same love in New York and
you know
like?
what? I'm going to be doing a thing next year in New York. Yeah, I haven't been to New York in a good 15 years, actually. So I'm itching to get back there and do a project. So it's going to happen in 2024. So yeah, like we'll see. We'll see. New York's a lot bigger than New Orleans, right? New
Yeah,
Orleans is a pretty small, tightly knit community of weirdos, but who knows? Right place, right time. We'll see the way New York treats me next year. Yeah.
that's rad. And then
Yeah.
that's rad what you're doing. And then let me ask you, how'd you hook up with Tom Green and do that?
Well, it's just the hustle. 20 years ago, I mailed him all my music. I just cold called, mailed him all my music, and he responded and said, "Dude, I love this stuff. Can I use it on my show?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of what you do. That's why I mailed it to you." And he kept going with it through MTV. He kept using it through the Comedy Network in Canada. As he grew, he kind of kept me along for the ride, and I'm forever grateful to him for that. It's a pretty awesome gesture.
That's rad. And has that helped you grow your music
Oh,
by
oh
him promoting
yeah,
you?
yeah. I mean, I've been doing it now, like since I landed that Tom Green thing. It was like 20 years ago. So I've been basically doing my own thing. But it definitely, in the early days, it helped support me. Like as he went to MTV, then I started making money from it. So it helped me kind of get on my feet. And I've done so much since that it kind of doesn't matter as much these days, but it's something that I carry with me and I cherish that relationship because I admire him. I admire the way he's aged as an artist. I was worried about him back then that he may just go the route of, I don't know, of you know, I didn't know where that comedy was going, what direction it was going, because it was very, you could almost, it was
Very tense.
pretty intense. And so I like the way he's kind of remained a pioneering artist and a broadcaster. I like the way his comedy show these days, with all the wisdom that he carries, is actually almost equally inspiring to me. It's not as abrasive, but it's you don't want it to be. The guy's over 50 years old now. You don't want it to be like him, eating bars of deodorant or whatever the hell the shenanigans that he was doing back when he was 20, right? But
Well,
so
look at the Jackass. Jackass.
exactly, right? Like you look at Jackass, look at people like Eric Andre, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Eric Andre, Jackass, that's the next generation of. There's a lineage there to Tom Green, so it's kind of cool to be like adjacent to that world, and I value that story in my life. I really do. I don't roll my eyes when I hear about it. I go, yeah, it's something I'm proud of, that my music is all over those shows.
And that's rad that Tom Green, like you sent him stuff. Like how many times you sent him stuff?
Oh, just once I sent him my whole box set and he used it. Like,
Dude, that's rad.
yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
When you first heard it on his show, what was your
Yeah,
experience? How did you feel? Did you like
I mean, yeah, great question, Tommy. I didn't spend much time, like, I would watch the show and it would be kind of surreal that I'm like, oh, that's my music. That's my music. But then it became like so often that I was just like, okay, well, you never really get over that. But I was just like, it was cool, man. It's like, and I've not done like a ton of like film music since, because I've done some just more recently, but it's kind of neat when it happens, and you go, yeah, you're almost a little nervous, right? Like it's like, oh boy, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a learning experience for sure.
And how do these people find you? Like, because I know you did like a puppet movie or puppet short
Oh, well,
film.
now, yeah, man. I mean, you build community, right? And now with the internet being what it is, like, it's really not hard. Like the last film I did was for a guy, Gabriele Faverato in Italy. Like we found each other through Instagram. Like it's like the Wild West. Back when I mailed Tom Green, it's like I was watching his thing on cable television in Ottawa, in Toronto and Ottawa, and I had to work for that to get his address to mail it to him. Now you could be friends with anyone in the world. It's so cool. Like that's the exciting part. Is like the level of connection that we have between each other now is really limitless. It's like, where do you want to go next? Basically, is what you should be asking.
Yeah, yeah. What's next
Yeah,
after this? After social media, what is there next to do?
I know, right? I mean, I think the collaborative opportunities are just there's no limit. So but the focus needs to be there. I think we can't just be throwing our art into the ether. We need to really be thoughtful and mindful and have purpose to it. And I wonder if that's what artists are learning today, to hone that side of their voice.
Hmm.
I hope they are, because that's the most important part that AI can't replicate, right? Is
Yep.
the essence of who you are, that special sauce of like that collaborative synergy between humans. That's it, man. That's the stuff. So you gotta put that in the foreground of your projects.
Yeah. And then go back a little bit. You talk about books. So you've written books before?
Well, I mean, I've written a few books, and my doctoral research was basically a 300-400 page dissertation as well. So yeah, I've done a bit of writing, you could say. Yeah, yeah,
That's very cool. And then one of the books I'm looking at up your books right now.
yeah,
So and they're pretty interesting. I mean, you got the Birds of Marsville,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and
That was a project I did. That's an ongoing project for Mechanical Organ.
really,
So it's a piece of music that accompanying that book accompanies the piece of music. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Yep.
and one I might end up buying is actually the Martella is donkey meat. Tales from the
Yes.
Italian Canadian Weirdo.
Yeah. Tales of an Italian Canadian Weirdo. That's Mortadella is donkey meat. Yeah, that's a series of writings on growing up Italian Canadian. Yeah, yeah.
Whoa! So how is it growing up Italian Canadian?
I mean, perfectly fine. It's a cultural identity that I hold, and I unpack some of that in that book. It's got a comedic tone to it for sure. Yeah, you could get it on my website. Good, go for it, go for it. I'd appreciate that.
And then you got the Great Blue Heron.
Yeah, yeah, that's a song book. So if you want to learn some of my songs, that's one that you could buy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then there's the
Yeah.
other one, How to Play Your World. Tell me about
Oh
that
yeah.
one. That one's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that How to Play Your World is a series of exercises for music educators that was published in 2017 that you can still order from the publisher called Publication Studio out in Guelph in Canada. And yeah, I'm proud of that one. That kind of celebrates a lot of the work that I've done in music education.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
man.
right. And then you also have a band that you go on tour with, the what they call the Lollipop People.
Yeah, yeah. It's a group of musicians. The lineup varies, but it's a group of musicians that I've remained loyal to for. I mean, it's a growing cause now, over 20 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, some of these folks go way back. So yeah, yeah.
How'd you find them, or how they
I
find you?
mean, it's a that's complex, right? Is like, how did I find all these musicians in New Orleans, right? It's like we gravitate towards each other, and those relationships they last. I really value them, and they last. It's built on something deeper, I think, than maybe even family ties sometimes, right? It becomes family in a unique kind of way, right? Your love of music and music making together, and just an adventure, right? Like, I think we're all friends, and that's what I think it's so important to me is bonding with fellow musicians. It's everything basically it's why I do it. Otherwise, you just do it on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's rad, dude. That's definitely
yeah,
rad what you're doing. And you also, like you did mention about your new album that dropped on March 2023.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
tell them about the album. How'd you come up with the name, the lyrics, everything?
Well, I mean, it was a long time coming. It's called Man Out of Time. That's the title track, the first track on the record. It's 16 tracks. It's an adventure. Um, it kind of goes all over the place. It celebrates those early days when I was making music on my own in my parents' basement, as a 16-year-old, all the way through to the studio adventures I've had with many albums later. So I think it celebrates different angles of the way that I've done music over the last 20 years.
Hmm.
And I mean, the lyrics come from anywhere. One of them is based on a dream that I had, and it's a pretty surreal track. It's called "Fluffy Clouds."
Mm.
Others are a little more. One of them's based on that Killdozer story. The list goes on. So I pull inspiration from just about anything. But yeah, it's a Man Out of Time can be thought of from a few perspectives. Um, I a buddy of mine was just said it once to me on the phone, and I was like, oh, we were talking about a mutual friend, and I was like, oh, that's a great song title, and I wrote that song in like 10-15 minutes. It came out of me real quick.
10 or
And
15
so,
minutes?
yeah, sometimes it could take 2 years, sometimes it could take 15 minutes. It's like, it's weird that way. And when nature calls, you know what I mean? And that one came quick, and I really love the way it turned out. I'm really happy with the way the whole record turned out. I really worked hard on it. It kind of happened through most of the pandemic, where I learned a different way to create and share files with friends as far as the UK or Budapest. Um, it's an international record. This record, the way I made it. So yeah,
That's
you can get it at friendlyrich.com. That's my website.
There you go. You hear that, guys?
Yeah.
friendlyrich.com. Go check it out.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Tommy. This is awesome to speak with you about it. I really, really appreciate your interest and your love, man. It's awesome.
Definitely, definitely. And then, also when you write your lyrics, do you
Yeah.
feel like you have to be in a certain place and mindset where when you write your lyrics, or do you just write them just
Mm.
as they come?
Yeah, I'm always in that mindset, if I'm being honest. And sometimes it's a happy mindset, sometimes it's a little more serious, but it's always there. It's always there. It's like when you're a composer, when you're a creator and a performer, you never really, as I said earlier, it doesn't really turn off. You're just at different stages in the way the stuff's kind of fomenting, the way it's growing in you. So um that's kind of how I take life. Is like, not that life is a song, but in that, yeah, like your life is going to get reflected in your work, and so you might as well appreciate it. Even when you're in pain, appreciate that pain because it's got a purpose.
Yeah. Well, actually, life is a song if you really think about it.
Kind of, yeah, man. I'll buy that.
Because you think about it, because I mean, we all walk, talk,
Yeah,
eat
yeah,
as a
yeah,
tune. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's all a
yeah,
tune.
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah,
Sorry, I
you're
I,
onto
I
something.
I got a little deep there on that one.
Yeah,
I just smoked a joint before we do this.
yeah, brother. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's good.
No, that's right. And what's Friendly Rich's day in the life like? Like, what do you do when you
Oh
wake up
man,
by the time you go to bed? If
yeah.
if you go to bed.
Yeah, I don't sleep that much, but I mean, the days vary, like I when I'm back home in Toronto, I'm working, like I run a music school in the city, a couple of music schools. I swim every day to stay mentally and physically fit. My wife and I usually go for a walk or something like this. Like we spend time together, and that's obviously of huge importance to me. And I try to be creative every day. Like that's if I don't have a gig, I'm planning the next one.
Hmm.
And I just as I said to you earlier, it's like I'm always kind of thinking about music in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
writing, like it's like you got to write every day. Some of the stuff's going to be crappy, but like some of the stuff's going to be good. So it's really important to just practice and make sure that you're working on your art every day, no matter if you're a painter or a poet.
Yeah. That's true. That's definitely true. And do you feel like compared to like when you first started out to now, do
Yeah.
you feel it's
Yeah.
easier now to
Oh yeah.
book shows and stuff?
It's not easier to book a coming out of the pandemic. I think it's everyone's a little more confused about it, but I think we're figuring it out. I don't take that for granted coming out of the pandemic. Every gig is a gift.
Hmm.
It's a true gift, and you got to look at it that way. So, um, yeah, man, that's kind of it. But it's easier in a sense that like you have more experience and you don't take things personally, and you're a little more focused in terms of the wisdom that you've acquired. So I can't say that I get as frustrated as I used to in my earlier days. Yeah, I'm a little. I think I understand the landscape a little more now.
Mm, okay. Okay. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's right. And where can people find you? I mean, I know you said your website, and if you want to say your website again, you can.
yeah.
And where can people find you at? Do you have a social media,
Well, yeah, man.
YouTube channel?
Yeah. Find me and please do yourself because I'm on Instagram and all that bit. At Friendly Rich, just one word, Friendly Rich, and I'll take you up on that taco offer next time I'm in San Diego, man.
Oh yeah, definitely, dude, definitely. And then people
Yeah.
can go on your website and buy all your music, or do you have a Spotify or other
Yeah,
platforms?
I'm on Spotify under Friendly Rich. I'm on Bandcamp, which is the better one, under Friendly Rich. And you can link, all that's linked from my website. My website's a good one, friendlyrich.com. And yeah, get into it. It's like there's 16 plus records there, and they all sound a little different. I definitely don't just, I, there's an evolution there you're hearing, and it's fascinating as I keep going. It just like grows bigger and more. I don't know. I kind of value that back catalog a lot more now. It's an interesting progression. Is all.
Definitely, definitely. And one last question before we take off. What can you say to the upcoming musicians that want to do what you're doing,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
anything?
Well, I mean, there's so much power in just continuing to keep on your path and keep doing what you do. And I've never really stopped, and that's part of the reason I just think it grows richer with time, and it's hard to do what I just said. Like, try doing anything for 20 plus years. So it takes that time for it to really make sense.
Hmm.
Now, if you get impatient along the way, sure, but persist. That's the word, persist. And great things will come. I really believe that. Not in like a Walt Disney kind of way, but like but in a more subtle, darker even kind of way where it's like, oh yeah, like persist and you may rot maybe my final statement, right? It's like maybe it's not even obvious that it's a good thing, but I think there is power and value in having that practice and doing it every day for years and then decades, right? Like, it's, if you love it, you can't not do it. You got to do it. And so maybe it'll make the decision for you, because if you're not doing it every day, maybe that's the answer. Then maybe you don't love it as much as you need to. So but keep it in check, keep it in moderation as well, right? Like, it's, you don't want to make it an unhealthy obsession. So it's tricky what I just went through there, but you know, tread lightly, kids, tread lightly.
Oh yeah, you hear that from Friendly Rich, man. Listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. He's been doing it for ages.
Yeah.
Well, Friendly
Awesome.
Rich, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Oh,
Music's amazing. I love it. Honestly, I really love it.
thank you, brother. I really appreciate you, man. I appreciate the fact that you sought this interview and we just kept working to get it, and we made it happen, and it was a joy to speak with you, man. Thanks a lot.
Definitely. And hey, be safe, have fun in New Orleans.
Yeah, we'll do.
Don't do anything crazy I wouldn't do.
We'll do, man. If I wake up, yeah, if I wake up tomorrow with with one less kidney, I'm gonna call you and just say, "Damn it, you cursed me."
No, just don't drink anything.
Okay. That's the spirit.
All right, Rich. Well, have fun and good luck on the tour.
Thanks, brother. All the best.
You too. Late.
Bye. Ciao.